I hate and abhor lying, but thy law do I love. That would be God's law, not the law of this land. Love not the world, neither things that are in the world, including politics. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes. Okay, your eyes are really deceiving you lately. Our eyes, the world, the eyes of the world, and the pride of life. Oh, there's so much pride of life out there right now. Is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passes away, and the lust thereof. But he that does the will of God abides forever. Little children, it is the last time. And as ye have heard that the Antichrist shall come, even now there are many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. They went out of us, but they were not of us. Right there, he's referring to Paul, by the way, who was a Mason, politician. Speaking of Masons, we're going to get into Masons and why Kirk is not dead. They went out of us, but they were not of us. Okay, that is Kirk. He seemingly went out of the world. Seemingly he's a martyr. He wasn't of the Christian church as he claimed to be. And I'm about to prove that to you with a witness and a vision from God to validate the only reason I'm doing this video today. They would no doubt have continued with us, but they went out that they might be made manifest, that they were not all of us. That's going to be your Christian nationalists, everybody getting up on the stage right now, acting like they're Christians in the political world who are, in fact, what is going on here? In fact, servants and agents of the devil, Nephilim, offspring of the fallen. God's shown it to me. Okay, these people are not who you think they are. Do not I hate them, O Lord, that hate you. Yeah, they hate him. They get up there and say they love him. You're going to have to develop a spirit of discernment if you want to discern who really loves the Lord. Because you can write a speech and do a talk and sound like a Christian and be a flaming liar, sociopath. And am I not grieved with those that rise up against thee? Okay, these people are rising up against God right now, and they're blaspheming his male-female image. All right, this is why I'm doing this video today. And I can tell you that after I had the vision of this bracelet, that Satan came and hung out in my room all night trying to keep me awake because he was really pissed he didn't want me to make this video today. Because he doesn't want his agendas exposed in this world. And fortunately, God is, not allowing things to be hidden anymore. And so Satan's really pissed off that he's revealing this so quickly. Only what is it? How many days later? 7 days later. Oh, 7, by the way. Perfect. It's completed. It's already completed. This lie is completed. He is not dead. And this is why I'm telling you this, because I'm going to show you why I know that he's not and what came to me. But before I show you that, I asked God, I didn't want to, I'm so done with this. I hate politics. I hate politicians. I wish I didn't have to pay attention of them. But if we're going to take the kingdom of this world and build a kingdom on this earth, even if we're going in the harvest, we are going to be at the precipice, at the cusp, at the foundation of the building of the kingdom on earth. We are going to have to pay attention to what's going on in this world to take the kingdoms back from the kingdom of darkness who's running and ruling this world. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pay a little bit of attention to it, even though I've completely divorced the beast system and politics is a big fat Hollywood long form movie. Bad movie and bad acting, by the way. Some of the movies that you watch in the theaters are better than what you're seeing out in the world that you think is real politics. But so I asked God, do you want me to reveal this and talk about this again? Because I really don't want to. If you want me to, you can show me something tonight. Otherwise, I'm not even going to talk about it again. I'm just going to be done with it. And I had this vision because one of the things that I was most bothered about, I've already done a revelation on some of this the other day about Eric Kirk. the wife being a baphomet. And I was looking through some videos, and you want to be careful. You don't want to speak falsely when you have prophetic giftings. And I started feeling a little bit like I don't want to get out there and be saying this stuff if I'm wrong for any reason. If I'm wrong, to me, everything in my body and my discernment is saying that is not a female. And that was my main thing last night. Is I was like, I don't want to speak falsely against anybody. I've already put it out there, but I'm not going to do it again if you're not going to show me a witness. And I had a vision before I was falling asleep. At this point, I wasn't even thinking about it. I didn't even want to talk about it, just trying to go to sleep. And I see Eric Kirk, the wife of Charlie, wearing a rainbow thread bracelet. That's all God needed to show me. He speaks very simply sometimes. Yes, the bracelet of the LGBTQ agenda is there. And they love to do this thing where their revelation of the method, telling you who they are, what they teach against is the exact opposite. So what is the thing that Charlie spoke about a lot? I don't know. I don't even watch the guy, but I've heard that it had to do with a lot of what he spoke out against was transgenderism. Well, isn't it interesting that he's married to one, a Baphomet? God validated and proved that to me in this. And then Satan coming and sitting in my room the rest of the night trying to keep me from sleeping even validated it further, because he doesn't like it when my friends who are in the unseen realm, who can see more than I can see in this world, even though I have eyes to see because I have friends in the other realm that share the lies that are happening in this world with me. Praise God. Okay, so that's why I'm here doing this. So we're going to look at the depth. This has a lot more meaning than just God saying, yes, that this Eric Kirk is actually friends with the LGBT community as much as they pretend and laugh the whole way to the bank, acting like they have nothing to do with it. I didn't know what these bracelets were called, so I went and looked it up. What are these thread bracelets called? It's called a friendship bracelet. So a friendship bracelet is a symbol in a dream, which was dream symbolism. I had a vision looking up what's the symbolism for strong connections and enduring bonds and affection in the waking life. So this is God showing me that Eric Kirk has a strong connection and an enduring bond and affection actually for the LGBT community. As a Baphomet Mason, which I'm going to prove to you all over her Instagram it's the whole page is just revelation of the method, telling you who they really are. It's all written all over in plain sight. And by the way, somebody else has done better research on me than this and is going to go deeper into it. I'll leave some of those videos down in the Dropbox. You want to go deeper? I'm not going to go that deep because God validated this for me. So I'm here with a revelation and a prophetic word from the Lord validating, yes, that's a man, and no, Kirk is not dead. Because the whole point of my doing this video today was to come and say that Kirk's not dead. And in order for me to talk about Kirk not being dead, I was going to have to prove that he and his husband-wife are Masons. And so this validation, I went and did a little bit of research to look into it when I started going, okay, this is what's going on, and found, somebody else who has done amazing research. So I'll put those videos in the drop down box. You can go deeper on this if you want. I'm not going to do that. I honestly want as little to do with this as possible. So often reflecting the importance of relationships. Well, what kind of relationships? LGBTQ relationships. Whether with friends or family or yourself, the bracelet details like color material in the dream. The material that it's of is going to be talking about, depending on who gave it to you. It can provide further clues, possibly hinting at specific aspects of their relationship or a wish for personal growth, good luck, or healing. The personal relationship that's pointing to is that Eric Kirk is in a homosexual relationship with their husband, who I'm sure went underground to go live his life out in his Nephilim tunnels that they've built for those who once their job is finished up and they've been expendable and they make everybody think they're now dead, they just go live it out. I mean, why do you think there's so many tunnels everywhere? And we're just going to jump into Utah here in a minute and why this all took place in Utah. The bracelet appearance. Different colors have specific meanings. The material is important. The specific material of the bracelet that I saw being thread, that's important too. We're going to look at the symbolism of thread. And again, like, I don't think I need to go too far into this. It's pretty evident. Thread, a bracelet made of thread, friendship, LGBTQ bracelet, is going to be witnessing your connections, the path to your fortune. How did you get that wealth, oh Baphomet? Or the act of repair and binding. The specific meaning of a thread can depend heavily on the context. Anyway, the path to fortune and their connection, that's evident. Okay, so this is important because I found this on Mr. Kirk's page, Mr. Eric Kirk's page, Instagram. And I got to jump back. You probably, if you're seeing this for the first time and you didn't watch some of my visions that I did on another video yesterday, what was that titled? Harvest and Tribulation. It would have been the last video I did before the Peter one. I talk about this, but the thing is God reveals things in layers. So for a minute, I believed that he might be dead, and so I interpreted some visions he gave me a different way. But then once I realized, I started thinking, and I'm like, okay, there's got to be a way that this was set up, because I already knew that Trump's assassination was fake, even though it's prophesied in Revelation 13 that he would receive a deadly wound as the beast that rises up in Revelation 13, that it was still, all of politics is a stage, and it's all beast system, antichrist agendas, and so it's all fake. But God works with what we believe as those who are deceived by the great deception. And so he's going to prophesy in the written word in such a way as if it were real, because for those who aren't going to buy into what I'm telling you and have already left this video by now, he's going to have prophesied in such a way that there's layers, that those who are on a lower level, because of his grace is so merciful, and people who can't wrap their minds around the Baphometic political world, that their God is Lucifer, and that the Antichrist Christian nationalism that's going to come forward as the one world religion is the Antichrist system, and they're all actually secretly underground doing ugly rituals and wizards in secret, and Nephilim, an offspring of the fallen. All the while they're trying to pretend and take over the Christian church so they can win souls for the kingdom of darkness by usurping the doctrines of the kingdom of God. So this is important because in this vision that I had yesterday, I see a pit open up in the ground that is like an underground temple where all of these men from these other countries are wearing white and they are preparing for war. Okay, this is men who wear white often are working for the devil. That's the light side of the system. The left-handed path, or actually that would be the right-handed path. The left wing of politics, the conservatives. Hopefully I'm getting that all right. It's all the same, two wings of the same bird. So the Luciferian side, pretends to be angels of light. They masquerade about. So these men are masquerading in white in this vision that I'm having, and they're preparing underground for war. And it seems to be a place that I recognize, such as a military memorial site where soldiers march. And then I said, is it a cemetery? And then I woke up and I was like, oh yeah, that's that place in Washington, D.C. that I've been, which I realized then is Arlington National Cemetery. And look, I went and jumped on her site last night before I went to bed to grab a few pictures. And she happened to be there at this vision that God had just given me. So God strategically and with his foreknowledge prophetically, before I even decided and realized that Charlie's not even dead and that it was all fake, put this vision in my gave me this vision to connect it to Eric Kirk's page as well. And this is actually, whoosh, thank you, Jesus. This is the invert of my vision. It was a pit that went down, and as I was explaining yesterday, it was stairs. So it was just like this big square of stairs, except for it went down in as if it was underground, but it opened it up. So God is talking about inverted genders, and that's what the Baphomet religion does. Who runs and rules the world is they're all Masons. They have to marry another Mason that's a Baphomet. They're put on a stage, and these power couples, as I revealed, I don't have that text on here, but there's texts between Candace Owens and Charlie talking about what a power couple they're going to be. It is a power couple. They were arranged to be a power couple to pass forth an agenda and to speak the opposite, because while they're telling you and you're like, yay, they're speaking against transgenderism, and you don't know that the wife that you're sitting there looking at is the very thing that they're preaching against, which is why this is such a blasphemy before God, because again, they're perverting his image, because the image of God, go read my book, listen to my book for free that I have recorded on my channel called and he called their name Adam. That Adam, before Eve was taken out of him, was created in the male-female image of God. We don't have this other separate female God. The mother image is within God, as Adam was when he came forth. This is what these Baphomets are trying to do. They're perverting the image of God. They want to overlay the female and male image in one, and that's how they get all this power. They're charged with whether it be blood, sodomy rituals, and all kinds of stuff. And then you get a really scary light coming out of somebody's eyes. That's a false Luciferian light. And I'm going to show you some imagery of that here in a minute as well. But this is what I see. Here she is sitting on top of the very inverted vision that I had. Literally, God is just showing me this and telling me this. I didn't even know this before I'm just realizing this inversion. My vision was a pit that opened up in the ground that is like an underground temple. That's a square with stairs going down to it. It looked just like this, and it was at Arlington Cemetery. So he's talking about the inversion of these genders in politics. Okay, so then I see a one eye carved into a mountain, watching me like at Mount Rushmore. Okay, so this is why Satan came and sat in my room, because he's watching me, because he doesn't want me exposing his agendas. Too bad. Thank you, Jesus, for your protection. The one eye, that's Lucifer. It's on Mount Rushmore. What are your politicians, the presidents that were on Mount Rushmore? Where on Mount Rushmore? Well, they are watchers. They come from the watchers. They come from the fallen. They're the fallen's bloodlines. They are their offspring that are running and ruling the world, as exposed in Ephesians 6:12, which was written by Paul, who was also one of them. So he would know, because you know your own. So Paul was also practicing revelation of the method. Even in the Bible, we have revelation of the method. Lucifer's been the same since the garden. Exposing who he is, as he is required to do. So this vision that I have of this one eye carved in is the Masonic beast system, the eyes of those watchers that I was shown. And this is all connected to what I'm talking about right now. And then I hear bloody Joes, there is none in Utah. Okay, what I said yesterday, one level and layer of what this meant. To be bloody is to, God says these really weird things to me. I could have never come up with a phrase like this, and they're full of revelation and symbolism. Bloody Joe. What's a bloody Joe? I don't know. I've never heard that before. Well, what are you trying to tell me, God? A Joe's just an ordinary average guy, right? You're just your typical Joe. Joe Schmo. Joe Blow. Well, bloody Joe, there is none in Utah. There is no bloody Joe Schmo in Utah. Everybody is elite, Nephilim, hybrid, Mason, and then the bloody part, well, I covered in the blood. So God's like, nobody in Utah is covered in the blood. The whole state has been taken over by the Masonic Mormon cult. And so what better place to stage and frame a fake death in than the place where you have most people who are running all your hospitals, running your churches, running your banks. They have more underground systems, tunnel systems under all of their universities, campuses, temples, hospitals, for all of their rituals. It's one of the most Masonically populated states in the nation, if not the best. And God was telling me here, Bloody Joes. Okay, there's none in Utah. Bloody is covered by there's no average Joe in Utah that's covered by the blood. One, I would say probably we don't have many saved people, if any at all, based on this prophetic word that God gave me in Utah. You have a whole bunch of MK Ultra victims that would be very easy to populate a crowd with, make a video with, the children of all of the Masons there. Who knows if I don't know to what level of the fakeness it was. I don't really care. What I know is Charlie's not dead, and God witnessed that to me. Okay. So there is none in Utah. This phrase Bloody Joes also, I said this before I even realized Charlie wasn't dead, but I said that it was significant that Charlie of the Cabal was shot in Utah as a prophecy that these false Christian Mormon Masons in political idolatry, it's a warning of true death is going to be coming to some, but his was fake. Okay, so Utah is majorly in bed with the church and the state, and they're in major danger. A lot of them are going to be being taken in the tribulation that's about in this harvest. The chaff is about to be burned. And let's see, high-level Masonic. Utah, high-level Masonic principalities that oversee that entire state, because so many people are in covenant there. Again, there wouldn't have been a better state for you to cover up something like this in. Rush him out. Candace Owens supposedly said something about him, about there being some plane that was chartered that all of a sudden it was I don't even know the story. Fact is, Candace Owens is also controlled disclosure. I can't stand to listen to her. Discerning of spirits tells me so much pride in her voice. Everything that she comes out and reveals about everyone, it's hand-fed to her. I don't know who she really is, but she's fake as his best friend as well. You don't get a platform such as Charlie or Candace if you are not part of this beast system. Okay, so God says to me, Bloody Joes, there is none in Utah. There's no average Joe in Utah. They're all elites. He went there to have his death faked because he's surrounded by plenty of elites and Masons who would have totally gotten on board to pull this off and run him down under a tunnel or fly him off to the airport and on some chartered plane that supposedly was booked and showed up and then was erased from the system or something like that, I guess was what was said. So a bunch of nonsense is what that was. Okay. All right, let's move on. I think that's about it on my visions that go here. So here's all the proof and evidence. God was witnessing it to me, foreknowledge through this. That person who's standing up there, is that even... Actually, I don't think that's her in that coat. Oh, that's probably their child with one of the soldiers or something. I don't know. Anyway, inverted stairs, pit under the ground. Okay, this right here. This is called a squib. It's and I'll leave a video in the drop down box of how squibs work in Hollywood. You can go watch the whole movie. It's really bloody and gory. It's all fake. Just, I told my children last night, I said, because they were traumatized because friends showed them this video at church. I'm not going to show the video again because apparently people's videos are getting kicked off of this platform if they're showing these videos saying it's violent or they're whatever. You can go to Instagram and search the live shooting and watch it 20 times in a row, knowing that it's just pure Hollywood. It's all fake. There's a big tube under his shirt that looks like it's already probably leaking blood. I probably could have got better images of this, but again, I don't care because I had the prophetic word of God validating that this is what was going on. You see his whole shirt move because what's under there is a trigger. It's a blood trigger. And it's coming up probably under his armpit. He has this squib taped onto him somewhere, or maybe even a pump with a tube that goes somewhere. And this thing goes off and it's like a fake gun in the shirt, and it shoots him in his own neck in the front. That's why everybody's saying there's no exit wound. It's too big. And then other people have said, well, how could it pour out that much blood? They have ways. Hollywood can pour out all kinds of blood spurting. And the video cuts immediately. Why did all the videos immediately cut? You don't see the blood on his shirt. You don't see what happened immediately after. Nobody got video of him going to the ground. Unless they have, send it to me. But then he's rushed into a black car, okay, and taken away. And I'm sure they laughed the whole way home at everybody because of all the fear that this is a fear ritual to send fear and discord and division and fighting to the country so that Christians, those who are against politics and don't like the things that he's saying, or those who love politics and love everything he says and worship him, then they all start fighting with each other. And so this is a satanic ritual to bring a spiritual war. And so I told my children, okay, so what happens when they do this and that fear sent out is the earth is flooded with a bunch of demons. And everybody who watches this video, these demons come and stand behind your back and they tap you on the shoulder, put a bunch of fear into you. And then it sends out all of your energies of light that make you feel the love of God and secure in this world and the protection of Christ, and that you have authority in his kingdom, and that you don't need to be some part of this political antichrist beast system. And all of a sudden, there's a harvest of your energy because they take your energies of light from you and harvest it and go and use it to do what they do. And so this right here, just go watch the video on your own. I'm not going to show it. You can see that the way that his shirt moved is because there was the trigger, the squib that went off that shot himself in his own neck. And then I'm sure he practiced it before and fell over, and they rushed him to the truck, and his wife and his kid just happened to be there. I've also heard, I don't know how often they go to his events. They had to make it oh so sad. I can't believe his wife and his kid saw. And then I've also heard that most of his events do not have nearly the crowd. Most of his events are not populated like this. So all of the agendas and things that he speaks are the opposite of what he lives, and the agenda he sent out as a Baphomet Freemason to worship the beast and to bring people in the upside down, inverted Antichrist beast system. Come on, computer. So what's a squib? A squib is I had to ask somebody because literally I was thinking about this and I had to go and do the research because I'm like, I got to figure out how they did this because I don't know Hollywood and movies, but I'll put that video down below, how they make a death look fake. Most of your movies are better Hollywood than when you go back and watch it again, you're going to see. Also, I've heard he doesn't usually wear white. He's almost always wearing black. Why did he wear white? Well, so that you could see the blood splatter. You wouldn't have seen the black. The blood that's in these things is almost black, and because it has to look like arterial blood, and fake blood just is a different color. But he would have had to wear a white shirt because if he would have worn a black shirt as he usually does, then you would have not been able to notice as easily all the gore and the fanatic fantasism of this horror show that was falsely put out before you. Remote controlled device used in the movies to create a scene of being shot. High volume. Okay, you can pause this and read through this. I'm not going to go into detail, but because people are like, it wouldn't have shot out that much blood. No, they have all kinds of ways they can do high propulsion, high pressure to make it look like a vein is spurting out. And as fast as they rushed to him, they only needed it to look like this squib was spurting for a few seconds before they threw him in the car. Again, pause this and read it if you want to read through this, showing you how Hollywood does this. Here's him telling you exactly who he is with his hands. And he's prophesying it's going to be Turning Point USA because they've probably known that they were going to do this fake death. They plan these things years and years in advance. They have a whole movie script of their long form movie written out, from when these Nephilim Baphomets are children. And so Turning Point USA, well, things in USA are about to turn, but God's about to do a thing too. While the enemy has his plans, God's going to come forward and harvest some souls, whether it be wheat or chaff or tare. Revelation of the method. What is X? Okay, proclaim X. There's an X in between this company, this clothing company he has, Eric. And these X's aren't just there for fun. This is revelation of the method. The X is the Nephilim calling card to tell you that their chromosomes are mutant genes. So, what is the movie X-Men? All right. Jack Parsons, who created Marvel, comes from a Nephilim hybrid bloodline. And so he fantasized it and made a movie called The X-Men. And X is the X chromosome is a mutant symbol of a mutant chromosome that gives somebody superpowers and gifts and abilities to be put on the world stage. And so this is revelation of the method to tell you, I am Nephilim hybrid, the X's. That's first off. So at the highest end of the hierarchy, you have the fallen angels who are interdimensional and live in other realms. The stars are going to fall as prophesied in the Bible. So the giants are going to be coming back. These are their parents. These are the parental bloodlines or the head parental beings of the offspring of the fallen who governs this antichrist world system. And again, they all pretend to be Christians. And so that's the highest level. Then under the Nephilim is their offspring, and you have all different variations of full-bred and hybrid, because then they send their children out to go and intercept and breed with Christians because they're trying to pollute the bloodline. They've been doing this since the Garden of Eden when Lucifer brought forth Cain with Eve and brought the forbidden fruit. And then it happened again in Genesis 6. And then Ham did it when he went and, had sex with his own mother and then birthed Canaan, who was cursed. It's the Luciferian ritual. And these are the children and the offspring. Their children and their offspring here laughing all the way to the bank. And they harvest the energy of humanity and Christians. And okay, so you've got the fallen angels, their offspring, purebred, hybrid, different variations. And then under them, you have all of the Masons who are brought in. They can be different variations of just human, or, most of us at this point, as it was in the days of Noah, it would be in the coming of the days of the Son of Man, meaning that most of us at this point have had our genetics defiled somehow, whether it's through what are they called? Vaccinations, or things they put in our food, or the people who actually go underground and are actually calling on these beasts, these serpent seed, draconian, fallen angel rituals that they're doing that are actually producing hybrid children. So we have a 6'5" here, pretty tall guy, Nephilim genetics. God showed me a whole vision it was hours long, showing me how they are hidden among us, their offspring, and how they've downsized so they're not giants anymore, but they're still either really tall or really short. And then there's, the ones that look like mermaids, who have really long and a lot of hair and really crystal clear eyes, and they're baphomets. Different variations of these genetics. And Eric Kirk's face has a lot of the stuff going on that God showed me in these visions of the physical features that come through from these hybrid genetics. Okay. This is just really weird. And I don't believe for 1 second that that's his body. If it is his real body, he's either been painted, or there's a bunch of makeup going on here and he's just holding real still, or this is just completely fake. But this is all an act. Everybody's over there just crying and getting their emotions all, you need to, in order to have discernment, you're going to have to remove your emotions. And look here at the G ring. Revelation of the method, we're going to see a lot of this G ring. The G is for the Masonic symbol. I have an image of that in a minute. And then she has her baby doing this. That's the 666 symbol. Who puts their baby's hand in an image like that? She's telling you her baby is of a child of the devil, is a child of the devil, born of the Nephilim, paying homage through that symbol, which just only gets worse and continues. Now, I don't know what this ring is. I can't get a good enough image of it. If anybody has a good image of this, I'd like to see it, but I don't think that's just a normal ring. I think it has something coded in it. A lot of the jewelry that Eric wears, if you could see it up close, might be more revelation of the method. They named their child Gigi, okay? Usually Gigi spelled Gigi, but it's just Gigi. Well, why revelation of the method? G is for Mason. It's Gadriel, I think, was the name of Lucifer in the language that was spoken in the garden. That in the book of Enoch, he says that the serpent who came and deceived Eve was named Gadriel. And so their worship of Lucifer, the G, symbolizes many things. It points to God, which is not our God, which is their God, who is Lucifer, Gadriel. I can't remember. There's layers and layers of what the G means. There's other stuff. But to name your child Gigi and to wear a G ring on your finger and act like it's just a name that you named your child when you are a Baphomet is not so, because the Baphomet, those who worship the Baphomet in the political religions and in Hollywood on stage, they're required to have same-sex marriages, and they're paired in these power couples because they worship the phallus. And so how much more power can you have if you have two men? And females aren't really allowed in politics, and so most of the people that are going to be on a stage in politics are probably going to be a Baphomet. Okay, so you've got, why does she love this ring so much? You know, there's a lot of pictures of it in there. Why does she take a picture of her daughter Gigi? Oh, just because her name's Gigi? Well, why did they name their daughter Gigi? Let's keep looking. More Arlington Cemetery. Okay. And these aren't just like, these are special made rings. These are not just, you don't just go into some random jewelry store and get this. This is occult stuff going on there. Oh, and I've also heard Charlie J. Kirk was his name. James Kirk was, the guy who was in Star Trek. Oh, you came from the stars? These people are not who you think they are. This is just so fake. I'm sorry if this has made you sad and you thought this was real, but just let your heart be at ease, be not troubled. This is the G. Okay, the 47 of the 47th president, this degree within the compass and the square is 47 degrees. So it's no mistake that they planned for the 47th president, that his hat says 47 because it's 47 degrees of masonry is what the degree of the compass sits at. So it's no mistake. I didn't get the pictures of all of his hats. He makes the hats that say 47. This is a picture of Eric's hand in the hospital, supposedly when they had a baby. There's no pictures of the pregnancy. All of a sudden, Charlie pops up one day and he's like, we didn't tell anybody about the pregnancy. I didn't want anybody to know. We just all of a sudden have this child. Well, where do they get these children? I'm not going to get into the depths and details of that, but these aren't their children, and I don't know where they get them from, but it's really creepy the way they do not show their eyes. And I feel intuitively, there's a video, you can go watch it. I have it posted in my other video about Charlie. It's in the drop down box because I had to cut it out because I got a copyright strike. So you can go watch it on your own, but it is of Eric Kirk in the pageant back when he won the pageant. They love to put these Baphomets in their pageants too. Was it Trump that was involved in pageants too? Pageants are the weirdest thing. They're totally satanic, but okay, so what was I saying about this? Sorry, I got off track. I forgot. Their children. Not their children, okay? I don't know what these children look like. They could be inverted. What I was saying is this video of the pageant. Eric Kirk in the video talks a lot about when they were little, being a tomboy and everybody thinking they were a boy. Well, that's just, they're putting that out there as a cover to be like, well, I know for those of you who have discernment and can actually tell that I'm a boy, I'm going to need to make videos that say that I was a tomboy when I was little. So when you see that my mommy changed my sex when I was an infant because she also worships the Baphomet, then I'm going to need an excuse. So I'm going to say I was a tomboy when I was little. So go watch that video. They do all this stuff on purpose, revelation of the method. this to me looks like, now I've had somebody who is in a very elite cult bloodline, who is my sister's handler, tell me when he was looking at my tattoos one day, he said, I have a lot of tattoos. And I'm looking at him. We were out at a pool, and all he had on was a pair of shorts. And I was like, do you now? And he's like, yeah, but they're all done in white ink. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then at the time I was still under MK Ultra and witchcraft, and I didn't realize what he was telling me. But I found out later in the rituals, they actually use white ink and do a lot of tattoos in elite rituals. And to me, this looks like a white ink tattoo on his Eric Kirk's hand. It looks like a compass and square to me, right there. I mean, if they're doing a tattoo in the dark in white ink and at a ritual, that's about as good as it's going to look. But that's what that looks like to me. These are some really broad shoulders. This is really square. That's a teen boy who's been on puberty blocking hormones since very young. Okay, this is, just to show more of the X's. This is supposedly some BS post. Go look at the post. It's so dumb. Like, oh, my pregnancy, and there's no pictures of the stomach. There's nothing. It's all fake. This is a male's stomach. There's no curvature here. Completely straight line, and supposedly getting some treatments after. Oh, I had this massage thing done to my stomach. There was 8,000 now that so many people have come to his page and have written 8,000 comments under everyone. I couldn't find the comments. There was too many to sort through of what number 7 was on this list that Eric Kirk made of how to get through postpartum or whatever. But this is not a postpartum stomach. There's never been a baby that's ever come out of that gut. Sorry. This facade, I hate to ruin the movie for you. This is a post from somebody else, but gun deaths are unfortunately worth it. That's a quote from Charlie Kirk. So, it's like he comes out and has all of this support on guns and that it's worth it. And then he gets killed, and then everybody's going to fight about gun rights and should we have guns? And oh my gosh, and he deserved it. He's the one who was talking about guns, and they just make you go crazy. And he's down underground in some tunnel somewhere, again, laughing all the way to the bank, probably drinking some adrenochrome. Let's see. Oh, Charlie Kirk. So 1776. That is the year that the Declaration of Independence was signed, but that was the year that the Illuminati was created. The 1776, my phone number was 1776 growing up, because my family was paying homage to the Illuminati, because my family was in the Illuminati. That was my family's own revelation of the revelation of the method. Anyway, he's telling you with his 1776, not that he loves the Constitution, but that he's in the Illuminati. Gigi, when I first saw this, I was just like, dang, they're just going to tell you 666. They're just going to put it right on their daughter's shirt. It took me a while to figure out that this child's name was Gigi and that those weren't 6s. But they didn't do that on accident. It's not hard to make a G that doesn't look like a 6. That's more revelation of the method. This is 2 Gs. My mom and my dad are Gadriel Mesa Baphometic Masons. Both of my parents are Masons and males. You can't be a Mason if you're not a female, which is why you find Eric Kirk wearing the G to tell you that who they are on the world stage. My computer's being so sticky right now. Okay, here's more just of these images. I'm sorry, and I don't mean to be rude, but I know this is a remnant of a giant face. There's some major things wrong with the structures of the bone structures of this face. And this is a very masculine prepubescent teen who never was able to hit full puberty, with the broad nose. There's Nephilim structures here all over, the wide cheekbones, the wide jaw, all of that, which is another reason I was going to say I think that they hide their children's faces, because it's likely that they've inverted their own children as well. If a Baphometic couple comes together, then they're going to also be required to invert their children. And from the videos in the pageants that Eric Kirk did when he won the pageant. His children, that would be a sore spot to say, well, I don't want a bunch of faces of my children when they were little before we get them on hormones. So there's all different kind of reasons. If these children are full level hybrid, these children could have black eyes that they don't show, like scary eyes. If they're drawing blood from these children, if they're using them, which I'll show you, it's very suspicious that may be going on. I get a really sick feeling when I see some of these images. Come on, Lord, help me, my computer work here. Sticky. Here's an upside down 6. That's not supposed to be 9. That's an upside down 6. This is the stars on the flag. They're inverted. Inverted. There's that word again. They invert the genders, and it's an inverted pentagram. And then they have an inverted 6. So this it's in and of itself is paying homage. And I'm sure that Mr. Kirk, Eric Kirk, knows exactly what this is. And that's another revelation of the method, more from Eric's page, paying homage here to the black and white checkered Masonic floor and that red carpet, which is a bloodline. This just gross fake picture of fake dead yellow hands. I've done the hair of dead bodies. I worked in the ER. I've dealt with dead bodies. This is just so Hollywood, so fake. This is this picture talking about, we need to you should have your blood work done. Let me see. I think I got the comment here somewhere of what she actually says about getting our blood work done. So many people are like, why? Why do you even need to get your blood work? When I've posted about it in the past, you need a baseline. For me, it was always checking my inflammatory markers amongst several other things. I'm sorry, but this Baphomet does talk with a gay slur. If you listen and pay attention to the way he talks, you can tell when men speak, they speak different than women, and when they try to speak like a woman, they over-exaggerate, and it sounds like a gay man the way the influctuations of the words happen at times. Don't just aimlessly be taking vitamins because it's trendy. Know what your body needs. Okay, this is just junk. I used to work in the hospital. I would sit with the phlebotomist all the time while they would draw blood. There's nothing that you would ever need this much blood for. That's a whole handful of double what's already laying on the table. This is, I don't know what this is. I'm like, is this taken from the children? Is this being used to be drunk? Because they do that. They live off of that blood. And when I look, she does this all over. She'll have a freeze frame of these images. This is a one-eyed revelation of the method thing. And then when you go and click on the video, it disappears. And so you really have to zoom in to see what's going on some of this revelation of the method. But I'm sorry, but these eyes are very, very scary. She does this thing in her speeches where she widens her eyes, and I'm sure at some point you might be able to see the slit come in, but Eric's eyes, crystal blue, mermaid spirit, full of harvested false light. This one creeped me out. It was the best image that I could get. This was a stretch of the eyes, and it's like they almost turn like whitish yellow when he does this thing. It's very creepy. Okay, this is not just your average Christian woman. That's not who this is. Here Eric is talking about how Eric's husband is a force. He is a force, says Eric. Well, what is a force? That's MK Ultra, Star Trek stuff, and Christians, we're not about force. This is another really creepy, you got to go watch the video to see it right at the beginning. Super creepy eye stuff going on here. Just... the eyes are the window to soul, and I just see marine spirits all over in there. Super creepy. This long, long blonde to the butt hair. Do you know how rare it is to get your hair to be able to grow down all the way to your butt? And especially for a baphomet. Like there's something going on in the water here. I don't know for sure if all of it's real hair, but then we have the emerald color, which is Oz, which the forest green that's worn a lot. This green color comes up a lot, and certain people within the system have certain colors they're assigned to wear, and they don't wear these outfits because they look great. They're trying to hide. There's probably some kind of shorts under here that make the hips look more curved, and then they put these shoulder pads on to hide that there's broad shoulders, because Mr. Tall 6'4" has quite thin shoulders, and he's going to look like, if they were standing next to each other, two men, you might notice that their shoulders are similarly broad, whether he's a head and shoulders taller than he is, his husband, wife is or not. And the disgusting homage, the fake homage that they pay to each other about the most amazing, you're just the most amazing. Let me brag on my wife. He's always like, let me brag on my wife. Oh my gosh. She just had a baby 6 months ago. Does she even look like she had a baby? No, she doesn't look like she ever had a baby, because he didn't. He never had a baby. All right. He never had a baby out of these hips. And there's, again, these shoulder pads are just, nobody wears shoulder pads like this anymore, unless you're Baphomet and you're trying to hide that you have broad shoulders and you're insecure, because you know that when you were a child, everybody knew that you were a little boy when you were being raised as a Baphomet, trying to pass as the little girl. The green all over the place, the shoulder pads, the green, emerald. This is Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is an MK Ultra mind control programming thing. There's an agenda here. This is not a female. She loves to, Eric loves to talk about dressing modestly. This is the most revealing thing I've ever seen. It's like completely see-through. If there's other images where you can completely see his breasts hanging out underneath. I mean, the hypocrisy among a lot of the things that they say is just, it's gross. Here's the one image that you can find of Eric acting like he went to get an ultrasound in this Hollywood scheme that they've drawn up. And this is the best shot I could get. It veers from here so fast. Look, I'm at a machine. You can't tell. Maybe there's something on there, but it didn't even look like. That's not a real pregnant stomach, and it didn't look pregnant, and it only showed it for a quarter of a millisecond that you could even get this blurred image of them just then zooming into the screen to make it look like at some point they had a ultrasound, when suddenly they didn't announce the pregnancy to anybody, and all of a sudden it popped up that they had some child that they got from who knows where, maybe under the ocean, from the marine spirits. Y'all don't know nothing about that and the reality of these things that take place. This is royalty. The proclaim. I'm proclaiming that we're royalty is what that's saying. The lion with the crown on it. It's blaspheming Jesus' symbol of the lion, but also the Bible also calls Satan goes out as a lion seeking whom he can devour. So these people are lions seeking whom they can devour with their lies. A lot of the money that they bring in is through monetizing the merchant of the Mer kingdom, of taking the gospel and making money off of it. Those are straws for a cup that she sells on her Proclaim streetwear. The blood. This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen. That's just, I don't know if this is true or not. I couldn't find the book. It's not there anymore. But supposedly this book that came out by this person who writes about stuff going on in the presidency published a book on September 9th when he didn't even get shot until September 10th. Weird. Don't know if it's real. Let's take a look at the Baphomet, who these people really are. They got the breasts and the sword coming up. They worship the serpent. We have a Baphomet here with the Adam's apple. with a red-headed clown when he doesn't dye his hair and doesn't spray his tan on his face. You can see all of his Nephilim features. Again, God showed me his sixth finger in a vision. This is before Melania, the husband of Trump, had the Adam's apple taken care of. The Baphomet wants to steal our children. That's exactly what Charlie and his husband Erica did as they came out. Their job and mission was to collect the children, the youth of this world, to come and into political idolatry, which Trump says he was incredibly successful at. Yes. Oh, yes, he was. Because you got all kinds of children out there in political idolatry now, thanks to good old Charlie, who is now their martyr instead of Jesus Christ. This is disgusting, but this is what the Baphomet is: the phallus and the breasts, the hermaphroditic god that they worship, as a blasphemy of the true male-female image of God. It's just disgusting. And all of the stars that are there, those are all of your American flag stars. I'm not going to play this. This is the video. I'm not going to play it because I'm not going to get this video flagged. But, okay, so that's just a taste. There's so much more. You want to get into this stuff, you can go watch the other videos that I'll put in the drop-down link, but I'm done with it. That's all I have to say. God verified it for me, and I believe him when he speaks to me. He knows I trust him. It doesn't take much more than him showing me Kirk wearing a rainbow bracelet who's claiming to be a Christian, and they speak out against the gay thing. And I actually see, if you go watch when they speak about these things, they have a smirk on their face, and I just want to wipe it off of their face, that nasty smirk, because they're liars. That's why I started out with scripture. I started out with, I'm sick of the lying. I'm sick of the world believing it. I'm really sick and tired of the world believing these lies. And so thank God the harvest is coming, because I'm just about ready to be done here. I'm done. Hopefully soon enough, you won't have to hear from me anymore, and you can go and watch all my videos. So that's one thing I did want to say. I am leaving these videos here as people are like, oh, you have like 4 views on your video. And it's like, I don't care. This isn't for today. This is for probably after the harvest, when people start to go through tribulation and start to realize, and Trump pulls the rug out from under people, and people are like, what's going on? Oh my gosh, Mark of the Beast is here. And Christians start recognizing some of the signs playing out, and their idol and savior, Lord and Savior, Mr. DJT, turns on them. They might start pulling their head a little bit out of the sand and go, And so that's what these videos are for, that time. These videos are for a later time to come. And I'm sure at some point before the powers that be just take the whole internet down or start removing and scrubbing the internet of these types of videos. Until then, here it is. I hope you got to see it. Revelation of the method and who the Baphomets really are. And sorry, Charlie ain't dead. Don't be sad. He's living it up underground. I'm sure he's having all kinds of fun and rituals. Let me say, okay, if you're only watching this video and you haven't watched my other video, I did have a vision. I had a vision of Charlie Kirk. I should have looked it up. Let me see if I can find it real fast. But it was Charlie and Trump, and they were, oh, I know what it was. So I saw, in a blanket, I saw a placenta, and it was black. And or the cord coming from the placenta was black. Wrapped in the blanket was the placenta. They didn't want me to see the placenta, but I could see the cord, and the cord was black. And so that's all I see at first, and then it changes scenes, and I see Charlie Kirk and Trump in a kitchen cooking something super nasty and like feeding their faces all gross, and their faces were painted like the Joker from Batman. And like, that's what I see when I see his smile, that picture that I had up of his face. I see a Joker behind him. If you can't discern that somebody's completely void of the Holy Spirit when they talk about Christianity, then I pray for you to pull your head out of the sand and get the spirit of discernment. The gift of discerning of spirits. Again, I pray for it all the time for your people, Lord, who actually have a heart for you and don't know they're under a great deception. Give them the gift of discerning of spirits. Let it flood the earth. So their faces are painted as jokers. They're nastily eating something really gross. And all of a sudden I discern in this vision that what they were eating was the placenta that I saw from this birth. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's pointing to me that there's cannibalism going on behind the scenes. The black cord and them showing me the placenta, that's God. God will essentially force in the spirit realm the powers that be behind the kingdom of darkness to reveal themselves to me. And so they were trying to hide the placenta, but they showed me the cord. So the black cord was this dark birth from which they came. And this false tree of life, the tree of life which they eat from is the blood and flesh of men. The serpent seed, the serpent was commanded to go on his belly and eat dust all the days of his life, and we are created from dust. And so a lot of them practice cannibalism in their rituals. Lord, help me remember. There was one other thing about that I was going to mention. Well, yes, what was it? Come on. Something else that happened the other day. There was another piece. It's in my other video. Go watch my other video. I talk about some other stuff in there that I didn't mention in here that's in that one. I don't need to repeat it, I guess. But he's not dead, okay? Very fake. Go watch it 10 times. I've seen more violent movies than that in the theater. It's fake. Take your fear back. Take your fear back. That's one other thing I wanted to say. When Satan came in and I was feeling all this fear last night, and I actually flipped on the light because I was like, I didn't know if he was going to show up face to face. I've never had anything like that. But as much as we are about to experience a harvest on the earth, things are about to get really supernatural. So I don't want to see that dude. I don't want nothing to do with that being. I was just praying in the spirit and, telling him, you don't have a legal right to be here. Just get out of here. He shook my bed right as I was about to fall asleep. He shook my bed. And then every time I'd almost fall asleep, he'd push the fear button into me. And I don't actually fear him so I was having this conversation with God. I'm like, what is going on? Because I haven't experienced fear like that in years. And I know it's not coming from me. It's being sent into me. And what God helped me understand is the scripture from Obadiah that talks about that those who are going to be taken to Mount Zion in the harvest, they are saviors on Mount Zion. And many of us actually who do pick up our cross daily are given a work to do as Christ did, and we actually take on some of the energies of the world and we alchemize them. And alchemy has been corrupted by the New Age, but it's a real thing. Like Jesus, when he heals people, his whole body system is some miraculous form of alchemy. That's not the science alchemy, but it's eternal alchemy. And so my body was alchemizing some of the fear of this world that I was disgusted by, this ritual that sent fear out to everybody, and my children who came home from school that were petrified because they had these alarms that went off at school twice that day. And I'm like, okay, this is a worldwide ritual that the whole beast system is set up in the children's schools, knowing they were going to show this video, with this fake death and all of this. And so there's this fear. And so God was allowing me to feel that because I was swallowing it up and taking it from this world. And so those of you who've seen this video, and hopefully, will believe that was what I was feeling, was what was essentially sent out, but God was cleaning it up and using my body system to actually heal it and clean it up. So I'm just sharing that because that's something that we can do as saviors on Mount Zion, as those who care for our brothers and sisters and pick up our own cross daily. We can change the energies of this world, which is why it's important that we don't fall into this nonsense and believe this crap. So good old Charlie, I hope you're having fun there underground in the tunnels. I pray that those tunnels soon cave in on the beast. They think they're going to get away with it, which is, by the way, why Elon has this whole thing that they're going to go to Mars and they've built these underground cities because they know tribulation is coming, because they know the Bible better than most Christians, and they know what they're about to do with these wars they're about to push out. And so they love to just pull their own back and go put them in their massive underground utopias and just go have a blast for the rest of your life. You're going to have to hide out because tribulation's about to come anyways, because they're the ones who set the time of when tribulation comes, because when they bring forward the Antichrist is when God is going to send the angels to reap his harvest. So may you be blessed.